I know I'm rambling right now, but like I'm really nervous about this Patreon going okay. I finally did it. I created a Patreon. I've wanted to make a Patreon for so long now, but I really didn't know how to go about it. Well, I figured it out. With my Patreon, what's gonna happen is that everybody who's ever wanted one of my patterns, you know, my tapestry patterns to crochet, you're not gonna be able to get that. That's why I'm making this Patreon, because I feel that my followers who want these patterns and want the grids will have access to them. I kind of went back and forth considering maybe I should just sell these patterns on Etsy or maybe I should do Patreon, but the reason why I went with Patreon is because it's more of a community. So if you have questions, you can leave them on there and I will have better access to answer those questions, where on Etsy, I might not see them. As of right now, my Patreon is geared towards the crocheters. I know I have a lot of thrifting fans who just watch my thrifting content and maybe not the crocheting content. That's okay. Again, you do not have to subscribe to my Patreon, okay? Don't have to worry. You don't have to be like, oh, I need to follow her Patreon because I love her so much. It's fine. You don't have to, okay? Maybe in the future, well, not maybe in the future, in the future, when I have a little bit more time, I will make some more thrifting, vloggy kind of videos for the Patreon. But right now, it is geared more towards the crocheters. But what's really exciting for the crocheters that follow me and might want to subscribe to my Patreon is because you guys get this now. We'll get the grids, okay? The painstakingly long time that I come up with these images, you guys will get now. Right now, I only have 2 available because they do take a little bit of time. And if it's something that you guys are really interested in, then I will pump those out a little bit quicker. With the Patreon, I'm going to be charging $5 a month. Here's a little secret, okay? If you want to like subscribe for my Patreon for a month, grab all those PDF versions of the crochet projects and then unsubscribe for a few months and then come back in a few months, subscribe again and grab whatever I've like given out over the last few months, that's totally fine, okay? You don't have to stick around for the long haul if that's not for you. Here's the thing, if I were to sell these patterns on Etsy, they'd be a little bit more than $5, okay? More than $5 for each one of these tapestry crochet projects, okay? So in the long run, you're saving some money. I have them on here right now. They will be in PDF form, so you can download them, print them off, whatever you need to do. What I'll be doing is I will be giving you what the project is, the yarn that I used, the weight of yarn, the hook I used, all that stuff, so that way you know what I did. I'm gonna be showing you photos, front, back, arms, how it looks on, and then of course I will be giving you the dimensions. One page, like this one here, is the actual measurements, so like inches and stuff. The other page is like how many crochets across, how many rows up. And then of course, you're going to be getting my grid, which will have how many rows I've went up, how many stitches I went, the image, what type of stitches they are. They are going to be mostly single crochet. We'll see if that changes for other projects. A lot of people, all they want is just this. They just want the grid, and that's fine. But for anyone who wants to know the measurements of it, any little details, that's why I made the other pages instead of just putting this out there. You know, you get a little bit more information. And then I'll also be linking the video that I made it in, so you can kind of see where I struggled, stuff like that. Every month, I will be putting out my crochet projects that I've done, especially if it's the tapestry crochet project. So if you see me making something that's a tapestry photo or something like that, this is an example. I get a lot of people asking for this pattern, and the reason why I haven't given it out before is because the way that I like drew it up and everything really only made sense in my head. So I didn't want to give it to somebody and they just look at it and be like, what is she talking about? Like, this is nonsense. So it did take me a little time to actually figure out how to put the words and how to show you things. So that's kind of the main reason why I started the Patreon, is so when people ask the grid for this, I can send them to the Patreon. They can download what they need and then you can unsubscribe. You just get what you need and you can get out. That's perfectly fine with me, okay? The deal you'll get is a little bit better, again, because instead of paying, say, $5 on Etsy for this, and then $5 on Etsy for another one, and then $5 on Etsy for another one, you just pay $5 for a month, and then you get a bunch of these. Currently, I will only have one tier, which is the $5 a month. Maybe eventually I will up the tiers or down the tiers. We'll see. We'll see when that comes to it. But I just need to start off somewhere and then like work my way up kind of thing. So for the people who don't crochet and you might want to support my Patreon, what I do want to do is start putting smaller vlogs up. So maybe instead of having, how would I put this? Instead of having like a weekly vlog condensed into 20 minutes, daily vlogs in a sense. So say on Friday, I went to, let's say, Michael's and I bought all this Halloween stuff, but I cut down, say, 10 minutes of footage to like 2 minutes. I would be posting like the 10 minutes of footage it for video, you know? But like if I were to do that on my YouTube channel, it wouldn't get a lot of traction, and I feel like I could have taken that time and used it for something else. I do eventually want to get to that point, because here's the thing. Currently, I do put a video out, like 2 videos a week, then the next week 1 video, and then 2. I would like to get to the point where I'm just putting 1 video out a week on YouTube, because it gets a little bit hectic. And then maybe instead of that second one, it goes onto my Patreon. You get where I'm going with that? But right now, I'm still going to be posting the way I post now. Another thing for Patreon that I will be offering is I'm going to be doing polls, so you can express your opinion and stuff on future projects that I'm doing. Maybe I'll do a video which I do want to do, I just haven't done it yet. You guys design what I'm crocheting and then I make it. Another thing that I would love to do on my Patreon, which will happen when everything is said and done on Patreon and I have it all set up, is doing Q&As on videos. Okay, so say I make a project, put it out on my YouTube channel, I might have a little thing on my Patreon where, hey, if you watch that video and you have questions about how I made this that maybe I didn't answer, head over to Patreon. I'll have like a forum, or I'll have something, you type in your questions, and then I'll do a special video on Patreon answering the questions. And the reason why I want to do it on Patreon is because I get a lot of comments on YouTube and I don't go through all of them, because that would just be too stressful and too much in my head, especially if you get like a negative comment or something like that on a video that you did 3 months ago and it's like, well, I can't change anything about it now. I try to only look at comments on my YouTube videos for the past video, so that way I'll be able to see the comments on my Patreon, make a special little video for y'all answering those questions. And of course, whatever I make, so whatever the project that I make, I am making currently, I'll show you one of my projects that I am currently making, okay? Currently making this. That project will eventually be on Patreon when I'm done. And what I'm really hoping is when the video goes live, the pattern will also go live on Patreon, depending on how like busy I am, but it would go on within a week. So say I put the video out on a Sunday, hopefully by next Sunday, that pattern will already be on my Patreon. That's the plan. I know I'm rambling right now, but like I'm really nervous about this Patreon going okay. But yeah, so I think that pretty much sums up what my Patreon is gonna be about. At first, it is gonna be more geared to the crocheting community, because that is where I get, I think, a lot of my views is on my crocheting videos. And then eventually down the line, when I have that set up, I will be doing some more like thrifty vlog type of videos. But for right now, I know it is more catered to crocheting. Also, I do want to say that you do not have to subscribe to this Patreon if you don't want to. That's perfectly fine. I just wanted to get my creations out there if other people want to recreate them. That way they have a place that they can get them, and then they don't have to go through the trouble that I had to go through to, like, you know, figure out how everything works. You know what I mean? And again, if the Patreon goes well, maybe I'll be adding more things, maybe I'll be adding more tiers, but I just want like a jumping off point. I just want to get it out there so people can get the patterns and be able to make these wonderful creations that they just love on my videos, but now they'll have access to actually being able to make them themselves. That pretty much does it for this video. Again, if you're interested in being part of my Patreon community, it is up now. I have a link in the description below. So yeah, that pretty much does it for this video. If you are new to my channel, like sewing, thrifting, crafting, and of course crocheting, why not hit the subscribe button? You can follow me on my Instagram and my TikTok. I think that's it. So y'all have a good day now.